If I'm being completely honest, I'm not a very festive person. I don't have ugly Christmas sweaters, I don't sing Christmas carols, I hardly even listen to Christmas music around Christmas time. Really, I don't have any specific holiday traditions that I adhere to on a year-by-year basis. I hardly even celebrate my own birthday. Growing up, Christmas for me meant two things. For starters, it meant I got 2 weeks off of school, which was all the festivity that I personally needed. But it also meant that my mom was going to cook some amazing Christmas food. And that was pretty much all I had to look forward to, along with the money that I received from my parents and other family members, which I would then turn around and use to purchase video games that I would spend the entirety of my 2 week Christmas break playing. I'm saying this to say that for me, Christmas is just another day. But when I moved to Europe, I came to realize that just like with many other things, Christmas is important because it further solidifies the importance of tradition within European societies. You see, the European quality of life is founded on the premise of cultural cohesion, but cultural cohesion is founded on the premise of tradition. Bearing that in mind, in this video, I will be reacting to German Christmas Markets 101, the ultimate guide, so that I can immerse myself into German Christmas culture and maybe become just a little bit more festive than I currently am.
Hallo, Servus, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Feli. I'm originally from Munich, Germany, lived in Cincinnati, Ohio for the last 9 years. I just moved back to Munich, but currently I'm here in Salzburg, Austria at the Christmas market, right by the cathedral, which is behind me. I'm enjoying a really nice Glühwein, or mulled wine in English. And a lot of you have been asking me recently if I could show you the Christmas markets now that I'm back here in Europe. Currently
So this isn't even in Germany, this is in Austria. I don't think this is a German specific thing. I know that my girlfriend was telling me a lot about the Belgian Christmas markets, and I think there might even be some Dutch Christmas markets as well. Granted, I did spend Christmas in the Netherlands when I lived there, but I didn't really get the chance to go to any of these Christmas markets. Honestly, I don't really know what a Christmas market is or what it entails, but the vibe that I get just based on the intro right here is a vibe of coziness, or as Dutch people would call it, gezelligheid. I don't know if you have a word for that in German. Let me know if you do in the comments below. A word for kind of a cozy, intimate sort of environment.
in Austria, but of course there's also plenty of Christmas markets in Germany. And the answer is yes, of course I can. So here's what they're like. In the regions of what today is Germany and Austria, Christmas markets have been around since the Middle Ages. In the year 1296, Duke Albrecht I authorized a 14-day December market in Vienna, and shortly after that, documents mention a Nikolaus market in Munich. Over time, many places started to hold markets where people could buy meat and other essentials for the winter and the Christmas holiday. Additionally, more and more tradesmen, such as basket weavers, cobblers, or toy makers, were allowed to sell their goods there, which allowed for people to get presents for St. Nicholas Day. But it wasn't until the 1700s that these markets slowly turned into a social meeting spot for people, where they could enjoy drinks and food together.
So I'm sure we have something like this in the US. I don't really know if this is much of a thing in Southeast Asia. I guess we're gonna find out soon, because I am here in Malaysia with my girlfriend, and I don't even know if Christmas is a very big thing here because it's primarily an Islamic country. Besides the point, I feel like this sort of thing is primarily possible because of the lack of those big box stores. I feel like in a place where Walmart and Target are the predominant places that people go to purchase things, there's really little incentive for people to go to a place like this unless they're specifically looking for the vibes. But I guess the vibes are really enough in a place like this. I mean, you don't necessarily have to go here to buy anything. It seems like a place where you go just to get that Christmas spirit embedded within you. But let me know if I'm misperceiving that in the comments below.
Year 1840, the Berlin Christmas market had over 600 stalls. However, with the rise of department stores around 1920, Christmas markets in Germany were actually on the decline because most people preferred to buy their goods for lower prices at the store.
Okay, so this isn't a US specific thing then, so that did happen in Germany as well. But it's my understanding that I know Walmart specifically tried to expand to Germany, but the German market basically just rejected it. And now Walmart is exclusively a US thing to my knowledge. So it's nice to see that people are they're consciously choosing tradition over capitalism. Not that the two are mutually exclusive, but in this context, they kind of are.
During the Third Reich, Christmas markets had a little revival with record-breaking visitor numbers, but the Nazi regime made sure that the market's religious ties were minimized, and instead they branded them as an Aryan German nationalist tradition. During and after World War II, the markets completely disappeared, but they eventually came back in the 1960s and 70s when Germany's economy was on the uprise again. Today, Germany alone hosts over 3,000 Christmas markets every year, with hundreds more in other countries like Austria, France, Belgium, or the Czech Republic.
I'm sorry, did she say 3,000? Look, I don't know how big Germany is by land area. I want to say it's around the same size as Texas. I could be wrong about that. 3,000 is a lot. But again, that's really nice. It's nice to see that you have so many options if you're just from the countryside, the middle of nowhere in Germany. You don't necessarily have to drive to Berlin or Munich or Dusseldorf or any of the other larger cities to access this. But this particular one right here, I don't know if this is in Germany or Austria, but having that mountain backdrop, I feel really elevates the Gezelligkeit of this particular environment.
Now, I've gotten a lot of messages and comments recently suggesting that Christmas markets in Germany have all been canceled due to safety concerns. And while it is true that there have been public debates about safety measures after the car attack at the Christmas market in Magdeburg last year, as you can see here in Munich, or here in Salzburg in the neighbor country, Christmas markets are very much taking place and in full swing. It turns out.
She said the car attack. Look, I'm not up to speed on all the current events around the world. I have my own issues to attend to, but what was she referring to? She said the car attack. Something that kind of made me think of just now is the idea that if you did try to have something like this in the US at that kind of scale, I can see that being a target for mass shooters. And I guess I've been out of the US for so long now that I don't even really consider that to be a real threat anymore. But in the US, that is definitely a very real threat. And I feel like that would definitely take away from the Gezelligkeit vibe.
And yes, the Magdeburg Christmas market is taking place this year as well. Now, what can you expect when you come to a Christmas market here in Germany or Austria? Christmas markets usually consist of a bunch of little stalls with different vendors selling foods, drinks, and products, which often come from local small businesses. A lot of those things will be Christmas related, like you can find lots of ornaments, candle holders, nutcrackers, snow globes, woodwork, Advent wreaths, and countless other Christmas decorations. But you'll also find items that aren't directly related to Christmas, such as jewelry, clothing, like scarves or hats, candles, delicacies like salami or cheeses, and so much more. So
let me know if they have a market like this that caters to vegans, because if you didn't know, I'm vegan and I would really like to attend one of these markets and try maybe traditional German food but in vegan form. Let me know if there's a specific market I need to check out if they have it. I'm not a very decorative person, so I don't know that I would necessarily purchase any of the actual things. I'm very minimalistic when it comes to interior design or just owning things in general, but I can definitely see myself going to a place like this with my girlfriend just for the vibes.
So Christmas markets are an amazing place to shop for Christmas gifts, especially if you're looking for something a little more unique. Oh, and by the way, I've also seen a bunch of Christmas pickles at the markets this year, even though I don't think the locals even know what those are, so I think the vendors are more catering to the tourists with those. Aside from the shopping, people come to Christmas markets to
Wait, Christmas pickles? I'm out of the loop on that. If you know what that's all about, let me know in the comments.
eat, drink, and socialize. It's a pretty common place to meet up with some friends after work or on the weekend, but most Christmas markets are family friendly too, and sometimes even have a little carousel. Since Christmas markets are all outside, and let's remember it's winter time, so it can get pretty cold. Currently it's about 27 degrees Fahrenheit. The most popular foods and drinks are those that keep you warm. This includes sweet dishes like crepes, Baumstriezel, which is like a sourdough chimney cake, Strudel, Kaiserschmarrn, Germknödel, and plenty of other pastries.
Let me just reiterate, if you know a place in Germany or Austria or anywhere else in Europe that has this sort of thing, but in vegan form, let me know. It honestly doesn't even have to be a Christmas market. But if you do know of a Christmas market that has vegan German pastries, please comment below.
Or savory dishes such as Bratwurst, Käsespätzle, Raclette, because cheese always helps, soup, goulash, sauerkraut, or flatbreads with different toppings. At this Christmas market, we even found an American-themed stand with burgers and chicken wings. Or if you're just looking for a small treat, you can always find candied almonds or
I think it's kind of funny how the American-themed stand has burgers when burgers were actually invented in Germany. I don't know, that's a really funny thing. What food do you associate as a German or as a European, wherever you're from, with the USA? Because the more I study European countries, or just countries around the world in general, the more I realize the USA didn't really invent a whole lot in terms of food. It just kind of took pre-existing items and added their own spin to them.
roasted chestnuts. Now, for drinks, the big highlight at the Christmas market is, of course, the Glühwein. Glühwein literally translates to glow wine, but in English it's more common to call it mulled wine. It's usually red wine that's been heated up and mixed with spices such as cloves, cinnamon, star anise, orange peels, and a good amount of sugar. So watch out for that hangover. Not only does it heat you up from the inside out, but the mugs are also perfect to warm up your hands. Speaking of the mugs, those come in all shapes and forms, often with adorable designs, and many people like to collect them, but if you don't want to keep yours, you just return them and get your deposit back, which is usually between 3 and 5 euros per mug. Now,
That's pretty cool. So you can keep the mug if you want, but you can also return it. I do get the sense, of course, this is in Europe, so it's a lot more environmentally friendly, but if you have something like this in the US, I'm willing to bet that they are using disposable dishes. They're using disposable everything. Plastic cutlery, plastic or paper plates, plastic cups, so on and so forth. And at the end of the day, there is probably all kinds of trash all over the ground.
nowadays, mulled wine comes in lots of different variations. You can add a shot of rum to it, then it's called mit Schuss, and sometimes they offer other kinds of liquor add-ons too, such as amaretto. Then, if you like your drink to come with a little show, you can get a Feuerzangenbowle, which is basically Glühwein with a rum-soaked sugar cube that's set on fire and then slowly drips into your drink.
Hold on real quick, wait a minute. I've never seen anything like that before. I have never seen anything like that before. I need to see that again.
With a rum-soaked sugar cube that's set on fire and then slowly drips into your drink.
How did people come up with this? I always wonder when I see stuff like this, who thought to do this in the first place? This had to be one of those things that happened on accident and then they just ran with it, because there is no way that somebody just consciously decided one day, I'm gonna set my drink on fire and then drink it right after. That's so cool though.
A lot of places also offer white Glühwein, and a rather new trend has been Glühbier, so hot beer. I will say, looking at the drink menus never gets boring. This year I've seen hot Aperol, hot Hugo, Heidelbeerwein, Marillenpunsch.
Looks like they're kind of taxing. $6.40. I don't know what typical alcohol prices look like really anywhere because I've never purchased it before. But let me know if this is marked up a little bit. $6.40, $6.70, $4.70. Also, I don't know what any of this stuff means at all. I'm assuming mineral is water? Mineral water? If so, €3 is a little bit steep. But again, you're paying for the vibes. You're not paying for the drink. You're paying for the atmosphere.
Hot Apfelpunsch, or even a hot White Russian. How is the hot White Russian?
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it
I need
better
a
than it
cardigan.
looks? It looks like eggnog. Does it taste better than eggnog?
Yes. Yeah.
It's less like heavy.
And Apfelstrudel, of course.
Right.
Und Nutella-Knödel. Aside from that, you'll usually also find classics such as eggnog, hot chocolate, optionally with a shot of rum, Baileys, or amaretto, mead, which is honey wine, and of course plenty of non-alcoholic drinks such as Kinderpunsch or hot apple cider. Now, I'm not quite sure what people outside of Germany really picture when they think of a Christmas market, but if any of you are planning a trip here during Christmas time, I want you to know what to expect. The good news is that Christmas markets generally don't have a cover charge. They're just an open market with different stalls and vendors. And just a heads up,
That's really nice. That's nice that it's free entry because I know in the US, at least in Texas, we have this thing called the Texas State Fair every year. It lasts for around a month, I think during October. And it's kind of like this, but also mixed with an amusement park. So you have rides and stuff and little carnival games. And there is an entry fee. I'm pretty sure. I forgot what it is, but I'm almost positive there's an entry fee. So it's nice that you can just go there and not actually purchase anything and literally just enjoy the vibes.
don't have any seating for the most part. A Christmas market really is a place where you walk around or stand at one of the bar tables while chatting with friends. Sometimes Christmas markets are themed too.
Okay, I know I keep pausing the video. I apologize. I'm not gonna lie. That's the one thing that I would probably feel some type of way about. I don't like standing or walking. I like sitting or cycling, if that makes sense. So I'm the kind of person, I would probably bring my own chair to the German Christmas market. I'm getting to that age where, I don't know, standing too long, it just does something to my back and it doesn't feel that good. But I don't know, maybe this would be good for me. Maybe I need to walk around a little more.
In Munich alone, there are over 20 different Christmas markets all over the city, including a queer market called Pink Christmas, the circus-themed market, or the medieval Christmas market, where you get to drink out of goblets. One last thing that I should warn you about is that in the southern parts of Germany and Austria, it's possible that you'll run into Krampus during Christmas time. Krampus is a monster-like creature with fur, horns, and hooves. The character actually goes back to pagan rituals, but at some point it was incorporated into Christian traditions as well, at least in certain regions. Krampus usually shows up in connection to Saint Nicholas because he's Saint Nick's counterpart who punishes the naughty kids. In northern parts of Germany, this counterpart is portrayed by a much more harmless figure called Knecht Ruprecht, who's not a monster but simply a monk. But down here, it's a little more scary. They even have these events called Krampusläufe down here, so Krampus runs, which are basically like a big parade full of Krampuses.
I can only imagine as a kid how traumatic an encounter with one of those things would probably be. That's one of those things that will scar you for at least 5 or 6 years, psychologically.
Except they can get a little more intense than your usual parade, because the Krampuses actually hit some of the spectators with their whips or chase them down the street. I actually have a full video on Krampus if you're interested in that. I'll link.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, look, I want to respect the culture and their tradition and whatnot. If one of those Krampuses or whatever they're called hits me with that whip, I'm getting deported the next day. I'm gonna just leave it at that.
that down below for you guys. And I mean, if that doesn't sell this whole Christmas market thing to you, then I don't know what will. And with that, I wish you all a frohe Adventszeit and an amazing Christmas season.
The only thing I think could really elevate the vibe of this is if it were located in a place where it always snows around that time of the year. Because I know that for most of that part of Europe, the coldest month is usually going to be January or February, and I'm assuming this market is primarily in December. But this right here, with a nice little sheet of snow on the ground, would be an absolute vibe. And I'm not gonna lie, after having watched this, I do feel a little bit more festive. And I know for sure that the next time I am in Europe for the holiday season, I'm going to one of these Christmas markets. My girlfriend and I will most certainly be visiting one of these. That said, let me know in the comments below what your personal favorite Christmas market is and why.